Imagine drowning in a sea of crushing debt, every number on a spreadsheet like a noose tightening around your vision. The pressure is suffocating. You know your business could soar, but the weight of loans, obligations, and interest payments drags you down. You feel stuck in a cage built not of iron bars, but of numbers and promises that seem impossible to keep. It's a nightmare so many leaders and investors endure silently, desperate for a way out, for a spark that ignites transformation instead of destruction. The reason most never break free? They only see debt as the enemy. But what if the very thing that feels like shackles, the mountain of debt, could be the fuel to build empires, to generate billions, to rewrite the rules on your terms? Private equity giants don't just survive under the weight of debt. They thrive. They wield it like a weapon, a lever, a secret superpower few understand, but all desperately want to master. This is not about luck or magic or wishful thinking. It's a cold, hard, ruthless mastery of financial alchemy. And the mindset behind it is available to those willing to step beyond the status quo, who refuse to be limited by old rules and tired systems. Private equity players don't run from debt. They invite it in, shape it, control it, and turn it from a nightmare into an engine of explosive growth. It's an obsession with leverage that scares most, because it requires precision, courage, and refusal to settle for comfort. Theirs is not a path for the faint-hearted or the complacent. It's for leaders, visionaries, investors, who burn inside with a restless hunger to create what no one else dares to imagine. So, how do these giants transform debt into billions? First, they see debt not as a problem, but as a raw material. Just like iron ore in the hands of a master blacksmith, it's shapeless, heavy, dangerous, until forged. Most CEOs, directors, and investors are trapped thinking that debt simply means risk. That's a lie sold by the fearful and the mediocre. In the world of private equity, debt amplifies every decision. It multiplies returns, yes. But more than that, it forces massive discipline. Without that discipline, debt becomes a noose. With it, debt becomes a magnifier of performance. Every dollar borrowed screams for an answer. How will you make more than you owe? This relentless demand for performance tears away distractions and excuses. It forces laser focus on value creation, operational excellence, and strategic aggression. Private equity titans don't acquire companies to inherit their problems. They acquire them to unleash unseen potential. And debt is their tool to force that happening. When these firms buy a company, they put their own skin in the game. But they also layer on structured debt, carefully arranged to free up capital for transformation. Imagine a jigsaw puzzle where each piece is a metric of efficiency, growth, or cost optimization. Debt pressures management to fit those pieces tighter and faster. Accountability soars, complacency dies. Growth accelerates like a rocket with 100 throttles open. But this only works with ruthless operational overhauls. Debt demands radical change, tearing up stale plans and injecting lean, hungry execution. That's how billions are born, not from wishful thinking, but from the cold reality of monthly debt service deadlines pushing teams to deliver or perish. Here's the brutal truth most don't say out loud. The world's biggest private equity firms operate where most fear to tread. They buy companies others avoid because they are too risky or too broken. They use debt to seize that upside no one else sees. Risk, in their hands, becomes a currency of opportunity. But risk without mastery is death. Their skill lies in structuring debt smartly, layering senior loans with mezzanine debt, weaving in equity and earnouts. This intricate blend is designed to maximize cash flow while minimizing cost and, critically, keeping incentives perfectly aligned between all parties. Top private equity funds negotiate relentlessly, knowing every basis point matters. They don't let banks or lenders dictate terms. Instead, they turn the tables, dictating terms themselves, controlling the narrative. This is power, unchecked power, over capital cost and timing. But the real secret sauce is even more subtle. These giants don't just leverage debt to buy companies and squeeze margins. They leverage debt to unlock intelligence hidden inside the business, hidden in data, in customer insight, in operational bottlenecks. Debt pushes them to rapidly test, learn, and pivot. It's a driver of a relentless feedback loop that weeds out inefficiency at speeds traditional owners could only dream of. When every dollar of debt demands a return, hesitation is fatal. Teams become obsessed with clarity. What moves the needle? What kills value? Where does growth hide? Debt sharpens the lens through which decisions are made, cutting through noise, complexity, emotion, and delay. Here's what you might not realize. This isn't simply finance or strategy. This is psychology. This is culture. This is leadership made extreme. Those who master debt are not just number crunchers. They're architects of transformation who understand their teams and markets at a deeper human level. They cultivate a mindset where urgency is constant and innovation is mandatory. They build cultures where people don't wait to be told what to do, but seek solutions aggressively. And when the weight of debt presses down, it forges resilience, the kind of grit and tenacity that separates winners from mere survivors. Because in the end, debt brings clarity. It brutally exposes every weakness. Where many collapse under that pressure, private equity giants harness it and rise. Every deadline becomes a catalyst. Every payment call becomes a reminder. This is real. This is life or death. This is the moment where the comfortable comfort themselves with excuses, and the exceptional rewrite the rules of what's possible. Debt is not your enemy. Debt is the fire where fortunes are shaped. So for those sitting now, drowning under invisible pressures, the calls that keep you awake at night, the faces of investors demanding answers, the creeping fear that this whole structure might collapse, know this: your greatest asset might just be your greatest burden, and that burden can become your power. Start by embracing that discomfort. Study the structures, yes, but more importantly, shape the mindset. Relentless, disciplined, fearless. Demand brutal truth from your numbers. Demand brutal truth from your people. Cut every excess, every fluff, every legacy that weighs down your shot at greatness. Let debt be the engine that propels relentless focus on what matters. Then, build alliances. Yes, with lenders, but more importantly, with champions inside your businesses. Teach your people that this pressure is not punishment, but opportunity to rise, innovate, and own their roles like never before. Layer incentives to drive ownership, speed, and accountability. Use debt timelines to force radical agility, rapid decisions, and rapid course corrections. This is the secret few understand, because it requires often ruthless unlearning of old habits, waiting patiently for slow growth, clinging to comfort, bending to politics, and politics of fear. Private equity giants don't wait. They act with speed and precision. They own their fate like warriors on the battlefield. Finally, fuel that journey with vision. Not the kind of dusty visions hanging on corporate walls, but a living, breathing mission that drives every single action through thick and thin. Debt demands immediate results, but legacy demands something more: a movement. The best private equity firms don't just create cash flow. They create cultures, ecosystems, and futures where innovation thrives, and exceptional individuals unite on a higher calling. Debt, in their hands, is the spark that ignites a movement of the few who refuse to settle, who dare to push beyond the borderlines of the ordinary, who reclaim their sovereignty as creators, builders, leaders. This path isn't comfortable. It's rough, it's raw, it's relentless. It will burn away illusions and false comfort like fire. But on the other side, freedom. Freedom not granted by rules or luck, but earned by courage and mastery over forces that crush most. Freedom to transform, to build, to lead empires of value beyond imagination. The question isn't whether you can turn debt into billions. The question is, will you dare to become one of those who do? Because this game does not tolerate the weak. It demands the rare, the relentless, the unapologetically bold. Debt isn't a trap. It's the threshold of greatness. Step through it,